Can you imagine buying a piece of tech in 2024 that is almost 3 years old? Now, I know that sounds a bit crazy, but that's exactly what's happening right now with the Kindle Paperwhite that is currently for sale. Normally in the world of tech, when things become 3 years old, they are considered outdated and they're probably not worth buying anymore. But in the world of Kindles, things work a bit differently. These devices tend to last a lot longer. Today, I'm going to tell you why I feel that the Kindle Paperwhite is the best Kindle you can buy and why I recommend it to most people. In fact, I'm going to tell you why I feel that this Kindle Paperwhite is probably the best e-reader you can buy right now, despite it being one of the oldest ones in the world of book tech. If you look at devices like smartphones or computers, you're going to notice that every single year they get a bunch of new bells and whistles. We get better cameras, better processors, fancy software updates, and it's a really big event every single time it happens. When you compare this to e-readers, I often see people complaining that there's a lack of innovation with Kindles. And to a certain extent, I think that's true, but reading by design is meant to be a very straightforward activity. I don't think it's reasonable to expect that same cadence of updates every single year like we're used to seeing in other tech. Now, yes, in every single industry, there'll always be that one company or that one product that's on the cutting edge. For example, I just reviewed the Tab Mini C by Onyx Books. That thing has a color e-ink display as well as writing capabilities. You're not going to find that kind of tech right now on the Kindle. But with that being said, the Kindle Paperwhite does a fantastic job with the fundamentals for reading. And if you ask me, if you get the fundamentals right, you have a future-proof e-reader, which is by design, again, meant for reading. Now, I think there are two important fundamentals that every e-reader should have, both of which the Kindle Paperwhite does really well. The first one is the screen. Now, the Kindle Paperwhite has a black and white e-ink display, which is really easy on the eyes. And you're probably wondering, why is the black and white part something I'm interested in? And I have to say, I have used a color e-ink recently, and I actually prefer the black and white because it's less distracting. I'm sure we'll get to a point where color e-ink is up to par with the current black and white technology, but right now it is just way too distracting. It does not work as fluidly as a black and white screen would. For the vast majority of people who are reading books on a Kindle, having a black and white screen is just fine. You do not need a color display, and I don't miss that at all on my Kindle Paperwhite. The second thing about the Paperwhite screen is that it has a 300 ppi resolution. Now, if you don't know what that means, 300 ppi stands for pixels per inch, and it's the resolution and the crispiness of the text on the screen. Our eyes actually cannot detect anything higher than 300 ppi, so this is the highest resolution that we can get for reading. And again, because this device is designed for reading, having a 300 ppi screen is super important for that purpose. Another part of the Kindle Paperwhite screen that I really enjoy is the lighting on this thing. It has adjustable front light as well as adjustable warm light, so you can read this Kindle at night, during the day, anywhere you go. It just looks so good, and the crispiness is also there at all times. Another really important part of the screen that I think is often overlooked when it comes to e-readers is the speed and responsiveness. This Kindle just works really fast. Turning pages is very seamless. Going around all the menus is very easy, and I don't have to change any settings to do that. It just always works really well. And the last thing I want to mention about the Paperwhite screen is the size. It has a 6.8 inch display, which I think is a really nice sweet spot. It's still small enough to carry around with you in your bag while you're traveling, but also still large enough for a comfortable experience while you're lounging around at home. I really do love this 6.8 inch screen. Now, the second fundamental thing that I think the Kindle Paperwhite does really well with is the battery life. I have not had any issue with the Paperwhite's battery since I've gotten it now 3 years ago. This thing still lasts for weeks at a time without having to charge it. Another really important factor is this device has USB-C, so I can charge this Kindle with the same charger as my computer, for example. So having one charger that I barely use, honestly, is such a nice feeling. Now, the best part about all of this is that both these fundamentals are accomplished with the lowest priced Kindle Paperwhite that you can buy. Yeah, you're not going to get all the bells and whistles as a signature edition, but you don't need that. The Kindle Paperwhite, the lowest model, does all of this really well. And again, if you're buying a Kindle for reading, that is all that matters. Just for full transparency, the Kindle Paperwhite that I use all the time, almost every single day, is the 8GB baseline model. I own all these other e-readers, but I still love using this basic Kindle Paperwhite. It just works so well. Now, putting aside those fundamentals, there's actually one other very very important component that I think makes the Paperwhite worth it in 2024. But before I tell you about that, I have to say that none of this actually really matters. It doesn't matter which Kindle or which e-reader you're using. What does matter though is having a daily reading habit. If you want some extra accountability for reading more books, whether it's on a Kindle or a paperback or anything else, I want to invite you to join my weekly book club called Presently Reading. Once a month, I choose a new book to read, and we read it alongside a community of 1,000 bookworms from around the world. Then every Saturday, I'll check in with you with some notes and discussion question, and we'll chat about the book. It's a really wholesome experience. I think it's a great way to make sure you keep reading every single day. If you're interested in joining the book club, it's completely free. Link down below for all the details. Now, another really important reason why the Paperwhite is still worth buying in 2024 is something I'm calling the Amazon advantage. Having it being part of the Amazon ecosystem actually makes a huge difference. We talked about the hardware of the Kindle Paperwhite being just right, but more importantly, I think the software experience is just as good, if not better, which is much harder to find in the world of book tech. In recent months, I've been testing a lot of e-readers, and I've got to say, there is something to be said about the Kindle ecosystem and how streamlined the experience is. Love it or hate it, Amazon makes the most simple solution when it comes to reading ebooks. The first major benefit of the ecosystem is having a marketplace directly on your Kindle. There is no searching for a bookstore or anything like that. You simply go to the Kindle store, and every single book you could possibly hope for will most likely be listed in the Kindle store. Secondly, when you buy one of those Kindle books, they are immediately available on your Kindle. There is no fiddling with a USB cable or sending it through a third-party app or anything like that. All the Kindle books just instantly show up on your Kindle. And to top it all off, because you're using the Kindle, you can also use the Kindle app on your phone or your computer or your iPad and just seamlessly switch between your devices, reading the same book on all of them, highlighting, taking notes. It just works all together very reliably. So yeah, even though the Kindle Paperwhite is 3 years old, all of those ecosystem features work flawlessly today, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan of the Kindle Paperwhite, but at the end of the day, Amazon is a business, they want to make money, and they will probably be making a new Kindle Paperwhite at some point, refreshing it, and asking people to upgrade their device for a premium. Even though I think the Paperwhite is really good as it is right now, there are a few small items on my wish list for the next version. The first thing I really hope they do is add a more ergonomic design to the Paperwhite. Right now, it's not very comfortable to hold the Paperwhite if you don't have the right positioning of your hand. When you're reading for a long time, it does take some getting used to for holding the Paperwhite in a way where your hand doesn't get tired or sore, and there are accessories out there like the Strapsicle or the pop socket you can get which help, but I really wish the Paperwhite just had a built-in design that was a bit more ergonomic. Speaking of design, I also really hope they move the annoying power button from the bottom of the device to somewhere like the side or the top. Right now, I am constantly pressing the power button by mistake, which really bothers me. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know my love-hate relationship with these power buttons. Amazon, you gotta fix the button. And of course, while we're on the topic of buttons, I would love to see them add some page turn buttons to the Kindle Paperwhite, even if they're on the side like volume buttons are on a phone. Something simple like that would go a long way. Any kind of haptic feedback would be really cool for turning pages. The second item on my wish list is a bit of a stretch, but I would love to see writing support similar to the Kindle Scribe make its way to the Paperwhite, having a pen magnetically attached to the Kindle and just being able to quickly jot down some notes or reading a book. That would be a cool experience. Now, regardless of which Kindle you buy, if you want to learn more about using a Kindle, I have a whole video talking about 15 tips and tricks for getting the most out of your Kindle. Link for that video on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.